What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Father Son Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Paul.
My name is Justin. What's going on, everybody? So today we're doing a little waiver episode. We're going to keep it short, so the intro is going to be shorter. If you guys are new, please subscribe. We have 3 episodes per week. We do a waiver wire, a weekend review, and trade targets. Then we do a start sit with Sam Lane. So today we were thankful to be joined by Nate. And if you guys don't know Nate, his Twitter is at DominateFF. Nate Hamilton. He's a co-host of the Fantasy Tilt Pod. I have the intro in there, but make sure you guys go follow him. Big shout out to him at DominateFF. I'll have it in the description below, so definitely go check that out. And before we get into today's episode, Dad, I played DraftKings this week. I won $8. It wasn't a good week for me, but I did.
That's all right. $8 is $8.
$8 is more than $0.
That's right.
And that's what we like. We don't like losing; we like winning. But a couple of things. Callaway was in my lineups. I think him and Landry combined for 20 targets and like 19 yards. They did no catches together. So Callaway was a big miss on my part, but if that had hit, I would have won more money. But I didn't. So it happens. I can't control these games, but I still won $8. I'm happy for the $8. Thank you, Todd Gurley. So if you're tired of getting crushed by the pros, DFS players, and sports players, listen up. TheQuantEdge.com has the tools you need to play like a pro. They have a lineup optimizer, an injury tool, wide receiver cornerback matchups tool, a head-to-head tool. You're going to be armed with all these tools that you need to win. You make up to 150 lineups in a second. If you want to do a big entry one, you just say how many lineups you want to put in. So say you want to do like a 20 entry max, hit 20 entries, put some players you want to lock in there, and it makes 20 lineups for you with those players you want locked in there. And you can exclude players you don't want in your lineup too. So it makes you 20 different lineups, so you have a little bit of a variability, which helps out in these big money pools. You also get exclusive access to the industry experts, articles, podcasts, and the TQ community by participating in the premium membership chat. And that chat is amazing. Elliot's on there every single Sunday, every single Thursday, every single Monday talking about who to play, what he's going to do, and a bunch of other writers are on there too I can't shout out. They're all great. So we here at Fireside Fantasy Football have a special deal for our loyal listeners. Use promo code FSFF to get 15% off. And yeah, that's at thequantedge.com. I'm going to have that in the description below, right, Dad?
That's right.
Easy enough. And yeah.
Money is good in our pockets.
Money's good in our pockets. So without further ado, we're going to get into this interview/waiver wire episode with Nate Hamilton, again, at DominateFF.
Dominate. We can't wait for Nate to come on.
All right, and today we are joined by Nate Hamilton, founder of DominateFantasy.com, writer for the FF Ballers, co-host of the Fantasy Tilt Pod, and also a member of the Fantasy Sports Writing Association. What's going on, Nate?
What's up, Nate?
Thanks for
Welcome
having
to
me,
the
guys.
show.
Well, thank you very much. It's I've been actually wanting to get on your show for a while now, so I'm glad you guys having me on. Thank you.
Right,
awesome
nice.
to hear. Yeah. So, what you gonna say, Dad?
That's good to hear. No, that's good to hear. He wanted to come on.
We're starting to get a little more notice.
Oh, we are. We're growing, man. We're over 50 episodes now. We're growing, and it's fun because I get to enjoy you all the time.
The reason it hits home for me because I have a 3-year-old son, so I'm hoping one day when he's a little bit older, he wants to do the same thing. We already do something right now where each week I have me and my son record, either the Thursday night game or the Monday night game. And I say, who do you think is going to win? And I just let him go say whatever he wants. And he picked the Browns a few weeks back when they won their first game. And I said, why do you want to pick the Browns? He said, because it's like the color poop. So, his analysis won over mine, which was kind of funny.
He's got the good analysis. Didn't he have the same thing for the Chiefs game last Monday, or was it something about that? He did on our poop reference.
He said the Patriots because they're good at everything. He was like, they're good at baseball, golf, soccer.
That's awesome. At 3 years old, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's the man.
That's awesome. Good. Yeah, hopefully one day that'd be really cool to see.
Definitely.
We're setting trends, Dad. Maybe.
That's good.
There you go. Good. Yeah, it's inspiring me. That's for sure.
People love our concept, and I love that you got me into doing it. That's fantastic. You're at college now. We spend time together. It's good. I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Hey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Especially when I'm beating you.
Okay.
Especially when I'm beating you.
Yeah.
That's the best.
All right. Yeah, we're going to get to the bets next episode, but I'm not 2 weeks in a row. I'm not doing too hot.
But 3 in a row. That's 3 in a row.
3 in a row? Okay. Well, quarterbacks, Dad, for this coming week. Who are you looking to add?
I don't know.
There's not
if Jameson Winston's out there, obviously. I mean, I think he's available in 45% of ESPN leagues. That was his first start of the year. Was this week? He did pretty good. I think he's a second. Mahomes might have beat him in some leagues, but they're really close.
Yeah, normal leagues.
They both threw 4 touchdowns. I mean, and who would have thought that? None of them were to Mike Evans. Mike Evans didn't even have a good game, and he still threw for 400 and some yards, 4 touchdowns. So if Jameson Winston's on there, he's definitely a waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that one. For me, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a bit of a homer pick for me, but Dak Prescott. Obviously, he hasn't looked pretty the entire season, but I'm just hoping after this last game, he's kind of figured things out with how dominant they look. They look as good as they had, since previous to last season. So I'm confident that, if he can use his wheels the way we just saw against Jacksonville and, catch the Beazles, as they say on the footballers, and throw it at Cole Beasley in the slot. I think that's really the key, and obviously feed Zeke. So, but Dak himself had a great game. So, I'm looking forward to maybe, you want to get somebody, a player like Dak right now before he shows it, consecutive weeks, because then you've lost your chance. He's worth the ad now to see if you caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, maybe I'm against the whole Prescott thing, but I think the only way I'm actually acquiring him is if I'm trying to trade him to someone, because he once again didn't hit 30 attempts through the air. They didn't really have to, I guess, because I don't know what happened that game. But the weeks where he hopefully does run more, but it's the Cowboys, so I don't know if they're going to keep doing
How many yards did he have rushing? Because he scored a touchdown, too.
82?
82, his career high.
Wow.
So, I mean, like I was saying, he did throw for under 200 yards. So, it wasn't like a miraculous game, but he was just doing all the right things. It seemed like a much better team, like they've turned a corner or something. So at least that's my hope going forward. And like I said, if you wait on him another week, you might miss out on him, going forward.
Yeah, fair enough. So definitely a good speculative ad. My ad is going to be the most elite quarterback in the NFL, and that's Joe Flacco. He's got a nice little matchup with the Saints this week, and I doubted him this week, but he still had a pretty decent week coming out from it. He makes a return. He had 23.1 total points the last 2 weeks, and now he's got the Saints. So I think their defense is already bad. We've seen that, and it ranks among the 5 best matchups according to average fantasy points allowed. So I'm firing up Flacco this week as a possible top 12 QB play for this week only. I'm not saying long term.
He's really only had one bad week. I mean, really, I think he's the Flacco of old too.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, so definitely. So he's saying Adam as a streamer, but like you're saying, Paul, I think he's looked better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's easy to, just talk negatively about, but he has looked good this season. So I think he could be someone you want to keep on your roster.
Yeah, it's possible. I also like Baker Mayfield this week too. He's going against the Buccaneers, who just fired defensive coordinator, so they have a little switch going on, and there's a 48.5 total in Vegas, so I can see a shootout, and he's going to be in a lot of my DFS lineups this week.
I'm not a huge fan of him, but I will tell you this: he's chucking the ball 40+ times in 3 of his last starts. I mean, he's just going to get a big game one of these times if you're throwing the ball that much.
I'm going to go with another one real quick. Is Sam Darnold? He's available in a ton of leagues. He has 5 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks. He's gone for 20+ fantasy points the last 2 weeks. And this Jets team, they don't look too bad, to be honest. I mean, they've put up significant points the last couple of weeks. So, and Donald's been a big part of that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can either stream him or, have him in as a backup.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a bad idea. And Dad, you have any more, or is that those are the guys you're looking at?
No, that's about it.
I'll throw out Mitch Trubisky. They're going against the Patriots next week, who are allowing 10th most points to quarterbacks. And even though he didn't have 6 touchdowns this past week, he's the 4th highest scoring quarterback this week, behind Brock Osweiler, Winston, Matt Ryan, and Mahomes.
Yeah, who would have thought Brock Osweiler? Who would have thought that?
Brock Osweiler is elite, apparently. I know.
Who would have thought that?
Maybe film matters that much. I guess not having film on a guy and all of a sudden just lights up the Bears defense. So running backs now we're going to move on to. I think the number one ad for me is Marlon Mack. He's owned in 26% of leagues, but he looked to get the ball. There's positive game script. So, negative game script, so he didn't really get that much, but he had 13 touches, rushed for 89 yards, and at 7.4 yards per carry, which doesn't really matter, but that's good to see, I guess. So I can see him be the hottest pickup this week out of all the other backs.
Well, Wilkins didn't touch the ball either. He didn't get one touch.
Yeah, that was shocking for me.
And Nyheim Hines only had, I think, 3 rushing attempts and I think 3 targets thrown his way. So Mac definitely got all the work this week.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was all air. It was all, Andrew Luck. For me, my running back is going to be Jalen Richard. He's a pass catching back, obviously, for the Raiders, and he's got double-digit fantasy points in 4 of his 6 weeks. So he's kind of gone under the radar, and right now he's unowned in more than half of Yahoo leagues, at least. So, especially in PPR, if you're in half point or full point PPR, I'd pick up Jalen Richard.
Yeah, for sure. I believe he has 37 targets, which is 4th among running backs, 7th among running backs. So that's crazy.
Yeah,
so, he's on the waiver wire.
He's been sneaky good the last couple of weeks too. He's getting some points.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So who's your ad, Dad? Who are you looking at for running backs?
I'm going to say Frank Gore. He's out-touched Kenyon Drake now 4 weeks in a row. He had 101 yards, 15 carries. I mean, everything was Drake at the beginning of the year, but Gore's definitely their guy. I think Drake's going to be more of your mix-up kind of guy, passing down, stuff like that. But, Gore's getting to work, and he's getting it done.
Yeah. This dude's a zombie.
Yeah, that one boggles my mind. But,
I own Drake in 2 leagues.
I just feel like this year it's going on with a lot of teams. It's just like the coaching is just there's not much good coaching going on, and it's unfortunate because clearly Drake is the more talented back, but they feel that they owe Frank Gore something, and he was a late add to the team. So I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah, there's like 4 good coaches right now, and that's Belichick, Reed, McVay, and I'll give Sean Payton one. I think that's it. Right now, I don't even know. It's very bad. And like you said, so fire up Gore, I guess. They're going against the Lions. So
right,
24th, I guess. Yeah.
If you want another guy too, you can stash is Deontay Foreman for the Texans. He's on the pup list. They say he's coming back this week, but I don't think he is. But he's a guy if you can stash on your league, because if he can do anything when he first got into a league, if he can come back and do the things he's done then, I think he's worth a stash. Because that running game on that team is not looking too good either. So look for him to spike it up when he comes back, if he comes back.
Yeah, it's a great pickup. I've done that in a couple leagues already. And like you said, if he comes back, so that's the only caveat there.
But if you pick him up, he doesn't come back in 2-3 weeks, you just drop him again.
Louis said he's a no-go for this coming week. So week 6, week 7? Week 7 he's not going to be there. But Corey Clement and Wendell Smallwood, also about 60% owned leagues, but they're still out there. I'd pick up, for me, I think Clement longer season, but it still looks like Smallwood's out-touching him. He out-touched him 19-14 on Thursdays and still won playing time by 44 snaps to Clement's 26, but Clement looked better, so we'll see how the coaches view that. I have faith in Doug Peterson. It's been
then you got Sproles, who's going to get healthy. He'll be back in the mix too, I think. So then you'll have a 3-headed monster in there again.
And possibly McCoy. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows what's going on there?
And then I was talking about speculative abs with get him now before it's too late with the Dak Prescott. I'm going to do that with the running backs and say Nick Chubb. He's probably cheap. If he's still there, I'd just let him ride a bench spot. Hugh Jackson came out today saying he wants to get more touches. It's all talk, but there's still 10 weeks left until the championship, so you got time, and he could be one of those guys that pays off big if he does get the starting job.
Exactly. He could be pretty sneaky. We've seen what he can do on very limited opportunities. So, that's what you want to look for to see if he gets an increase in opportunities. And if that happens, then he could definitely be a steal off the waivers right now.
True. So let's go on to wide receivers. Who's your wide receiver you're looking to add, Nate?
For me, it's Tyrell Williams, somebody who, it's not the Williams you were thinking of.
I was thinking of him.
Yeah, you were? Okay. Yeah, a lot of hype around Mike Williams just because of his size and, them not having Hunter Henry in the red zone, that Mike Williams has looked good as well. However, Tyrell Williams provides a pretty safe floor the last 3 weeks. He has 48 yards, 66 yards. In this past week, obviously, he blew up 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. That can happen in an offense like this. So whenever you're a wide receiver and you're in a high potent offense like the Chargers, then you better believe Tyrell Williams has just as good a chance as anybody else to have blow up games like this. But like I said, he has provided that safe floor, so he's not a bad guy to keep on your bench and maybe play the matchups.
Yeah, no, I like that. Sure.
Unfortunately, he was on my bench this week too, but I still
Yeah.
won it. I still won in that home league, but he was on my bench. If I lost in that league, I would have been really upset at that one because he's hit or miss. I put him in and I don't. And of course, this time I didn't. He goes off for what 30? I think 36 points in a home league.
Yeah, it's got unbelievable. The Titans in London this week. It's a beatable defense, but they'll probably be up by a lot. So flex spot maybe if you're struggling with bye weeks, but definitely for matchups, 100%. I agree with that. Philip Rivers been playing really well too. It looks like an MVP consideration. He hasn't had one bad week yet, I don't think.
No, it's unbelievable. He's doing well.
He's doing well. So my ads.
I say at the beginning.
Yeah, you love Philip Rivers.
Love Philip Rivers.
Yeah. Taylor Gabriel's my ad. This guy has been surprisingly very consistent. He's on pace for 109 targets, 90 catches, 992 yards, and 6.4 touchdowns. So that's always good. And this guy's on the waiver wire in 80% of leagues. He's got always 5 targets and 7.5 points every week, and his ceiling's been really good too. So I think he's a good flex play every week now. That gives you a little baseline with the upside to have those big weeks. He had 30 points in week 4, and last week he had 17. So I like him.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan of him. I was when he was in Atlanta, and I always feel like as soon as he got something going with them, his opportunities and targets kind of went away. So I'm hoping that's not the case here. And actually, the last few weeks, it doesn't look like that. I think he's going to be implemented a little bit more here than he was with the Falcons.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you like anyone else here on this waiver wire? We got Tyrell Williams and Taylor Gabriel so far.
Chris Godwin, we talked about him the last couple of weeks, but I'll give you a guy we haven't really talked about is Chester Rogers for the Colts. As long as T.Y. Hilton remains sidelined with his hamstring injury, who knows when he's coming back? He's week to week. I mean, this guy's seeing double-digit targets versus the Jets for the third straight game. He had a team high 10 looks, 4 catches, I think, for 55 yards and a touchdown. So he's a guy to look at if you need help in a wide receiver.
Yeah,
especially as long as T.Y. Hilton is out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I added him last week, Chester Rogers. I just like how involved he's been the last couple of weeks, especially with Ty out, like you said.
Yeah. What about Albert Wilson? You guys adding him after his huge week with Brock Osweiler, or do you think that was just because of Osweiler and not Tannehill?
I mean, he's been doing decent. This week he blew up, but I mean, I think week to week, going back to the last couple of weeks, he's been all right.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago they involved him also in the run game and trick plays and things like that. So he is kind of a gadget player. So I do think this is an outlier for him. But again, when a player has a big week like this, it's good to see that they're capable of something like that. And those are the guys you want to have on your bench just in case they catch fire and they continue on a certain pace, or they up their game, like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill did when he first came into the league. He looked like just that gadget player. He wasn't going to be special, and then all of a sudden he had a great week, and then it never stopped from there. So, yeah, this is the type of guy you want to have. You want to pick up and put on your bench. Maybe not be a solid starter right now, but definitely rather have him on your bench and then put him in later than somebody else pick him up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's correct.
So one more waiver guy on a wide receivers for each of you. Dad, I'll have you go first.
How about Kiki Cote?
Kiki Cote.
Did I say his last name?
Cote. Yeah, Cote. Yeah. Cote.
I mean, he followed up. The week before, he had 7 catches for 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Before the bye, then after the bye, he had 5 catches for 110 yards and a loss. So he's a guy to look at it too if you need wide receiver help.
Yeah,
definitely. And if Will Fuller, he's known to get injured quite often. So if Fuller goes down again, which is what happened when QT had that great game that he blew up in, that's something you want to look out for. And he's a young guy. They're using him a ton also with special plays and things like that. So I'm a big fan of QT, and I like him.
In the last 5 games, he's had 5 or more catches also. So he's getting some targets, and he's turning them into some points.
Yeah,
and that's what we want, fantasy points.
And who's your guy, Nate?
I mean, I have to tie it into what I was saying with Dak Prescott. It's Cole Beasley. Obviously he had a big game here, but this has kind of been his mantra since he's joined the Cowboys. He'll provide you a safe floor of 40 yards or so. But then he has games like this where he goes over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. But, this year's a little different, whereas the Cowboys have not looked good up until last week. Even though they're 3-3, their other wins they didn't look great in. This is the first game they've actually looked great, like a good team against a decent defense. And one of the keys of that was Cole Beasley getting him targets. He got 11 targets in this one, caught 9 of those for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm hoping Dak has figured out a couple things, and I'm hoping one of the keys here is Cole Beasley. So you want to get your hands on whoever the number 1 receiver is in Dallas, especially if they can score like they did last week going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. And I'm going to throw one more name out for bonus. That's Christian Kirk. He's been having 13 points per game, I think, with Rosen in the last 3 games. Yeah, that was inflated by that 75-yard touchdown, but it's a week-to-week game, and if he gets another one of those, we'll definitely take that. So on to tight ends, Dad. Who's your tight end ad of the week?
It's going to be Vance McDonald. That tight end is such a bad spot this year. He rebounded from a poor week 5, and he caught 7 of 8 targets for 68 yards in the win over the Bengals. So even Jesse James, he had 7 looks of his own, but mustered only 26 yards on 5 catches. But I think Vance McDonald is the guy to own there. I mean, the tight end spot is so tough.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's what I put in my notes too. It's just like ugly is actually the key word. And I put, underlined it, ugly underneath the tight end spot, because it truly is. Man, I remember I tweeted something out a few weeks ago. It was Jesse James had some ridiculously low total of catches and yards for 3 weeks in a row. And I said that he is a top 12 tight end right now in the league. It was just one of those mind-blowing things. And that's how ugly the tight end spot is. But there is somebody that I kind of like going forward. And it's going to be CJ Uzomah from the Cincinnati Bengals. With Tyler Eifert going down, a lot of people thought maybe it could have been Tyler Kroft stepping in like he did last year. But Uzomah has shown that he can handle any targets thrown his way. He caught both of his targets last week for 43 yards, but then this past Sunday, he caught 6 of his 7 targets for 54 yards. Again, we're not talking about some crazy awesome numbers, but out of the tight end spot, it's actually very good. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I believe he's played like almost every single snap too, which is insane. So
yep.
He's on the field and he's getting the targets, and I think within the next couple of weeks he's going to be in the offense more often than people think. So I like that ad a lot. I'm going to go with O.J. Howard. He's owning 54% of leagues, but there's leagues out there I know he's owning for like the public, so definitely go get him. He's going to be a tight end 1 rest of the way, I say, and I think he's better than Brate, and I hopefully Winston targets him more than Brate, even though last year it was more Brate than Howard, but this is his second year in the league, so I'm hoping more targets go his way, and he looked good on Sunday. So
I agree.
That's my tight end. And I'll throw in one more, I guess. This is really, like you said, it's just awful.
It is. It's so bad.
I was on the Jack Doyle train, but it looks like he's going to be way out more than we thought. So I'm going to say Ricky Seals-Jones. He's 12th in the NFL in targets for tight ends, but nothing yet. So I'm going to hope the targets keep going and the production soon follows. And then this week, I think you have Vance McDonald on a bye week, Jared Cook on a bye week, and Jimmy Graham on a bye week. So people who have those guys, he's worth a pickup, and nice little stream play this Thursday night against Denver.
I'll throw one more out there, and I know you were talking about O.J. Howard, but I will go the opposite side and say Cameron Brate here, just because Jameis Winston has a lot of chemistry with Cameron Brate. That was proven last year. I believe he was a top 12 option at the position last year, which again isn't saying much, but Cameron Brate has scored a touchdown in each of his last 3 games. So even this last one, he only had 1 target, but it was a 15-yard touchdown. So he is somebody that Jameis Winston looks to in the red zone. So I'm confident that Brate could be that. I mean, he might be a little touchdown dependent, but most tight ends are, to be honest. And, as far as O.J. Howard goes, I like his talent a little bit more, but a lot of teams are actually starting to do the whole 2 tight end sets, ever since it worked so well for the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl. So I think everyone's trying to mimic that. And that's a good 1-2 punch with Brate and O.J. Howard. So I'd pick up Cameron Brate. I think he's worth an ad.
Yeah, I think both are definitely in top 15 consideration. Because I was talking about at the beginning of the year when we talked about the Bucs, I was saying how it's possible they can have 2 top 12 tight ends if it goes right, and if Brate gets touchdowns and Howard gets the yards. Considering this year, top 8 maybe. Both of them like at this rate. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's waiver wire episode. Thank you to Nate for coming on, and
thanks for having me, guys. I really had a good time. Thank you.
Yeah, short and easy, and hopefully gets to the point. So we're gonna go enjoy this Monday Night Football. Hopefully shoot out. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully people win their fantasy matchups for Week 6 and get those pickups for Week 7. So thank you again, Nate.
Thank you, Nate.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, yeah, that's going to do it today for the waiver episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you get those pickups in. And once again, shout out to Nate. A big short notice and you came on. So it's good to have a new guest on and taking time out of his day to come on and do a show with us. So big thank you. And again, it's at DominateFF on Twitter. I'll have a link in the description below. And use promo code FSFF at thequantedge.com for that $10 off your first month. And also sportssabermetrics.com. We want to Sam. We have a 15% code too. It's also FSFF. They keep adding new stuff to the site. It's a new site, but the start sit tool tells you the matchups who to play it with, and they have a lot of analytics into it that other sites don't. So it gets you all the numbers that you really need to see how players perform against said defenses to start your guys. So really helpful, and you can find that at sportssabermetrics.net, and I'm having that in the description below too. Anything else you want to add, Dad, before we get out of here?
Nope, that's it, man. It was a good episode today. Short and sweet. Now we can go enjoy some Monday Night Football.
Yeah, and then tomorrow we'll be crap talking to each other probably. So I'll see you guys next episode. You can follow me on Twitter at JustinFSFF, and we're out.